Good morning, everyone. As you can see on the screen over here, I did finally get OS2 installed. All I actually had to do was to make another copy of that failing display driver disk. So, what do? You know, sometimes old disks are like that, and I found 3.5-inch floppies fail more often than almost any others. So let's go through the OS2 tutorial and let's play around a little bit and see what we see. So we'll hit next to get started. It's giving us an overview about how to use the mouse again, previous, next, topics, and then the optional keyboard keys. So we'll say next. This seems like a continuation of the mouse tutorial that we saw a little bit earlier. But it's giving an overview of how desktop environments work. I'm assuming this is targeted to folks that maybe had a mainframe background or a DOS background. Okay, this looks like the using a mouse tutorial again. So the same as we've seen before. Okay, and we're just going to go back to the topics because we've seen this one. Next thing, I'm guessing this is using objects. Object, pop-up menus, copy, create. Yeah, that seems useful. Okay, open the drives folder. We can double click it. There we go. Data file object, program object, device object. Most people would call them icons. Okay, showing us how to right click for context menus. Or menu bar. Shows us how we can right click on the desktop and then select shut down. I just did arrange, but there's system shut down. It's an unusual place to put it, so it's probably a good thing that they put that in the tutorial. And cascaded menus. Very nice. This is not the fastest graphics as you can probably see, and this is unaccelerated VGA, so 'tis what it is. There we go. We've got our context menu. There we go. Create another. Huh. That's otherwise known as copy. I wonder why create another is different from copy or move. It's sort of interesting. Create shadow is probably what we would think of about creating a link or creating an alias if you're a Mac person. Control button 2. That's interesting. And dragging things to the shredder. You have to drag with a second mouse button. That's unusual. There we go. And so we're doing more dragging here. It had me drag to the printer. And of course we don't have a printer here, even if this was a real application. Alt and mouse button 1. That's an odd combination. Shows how to use Windows. scroll bars, fairly standard stuff. Resizing windows, that works just as you'd expect. Interesting. I'm using mouse button 1, and that's also working. Because it is quite different to use the second mouse button to click and drag an object. Menus. Title bar icons, that's straight from Windows. Making Windows active. These look like they're real windows, because they don't just have one action associated with them. Okay, getting help. Basically press F1. That's fairly standard across a number of applications, number of systems. There we go, our help. And searching. I'm searching for sleep. Please enter directory. There we go. Rex. Yeah, I never really got into Rex. So for those who are not familiar, Rex is an IBM created object-oriented scripting language. It was also popular on the Amiga in the form of AREX. So I never used it. I don't know a lot about it. There's our glossary. Okay. OS2 command reference. I suspect that's going to be very much like DOS. Ah, there we go. Rex. Restructured Extended Executor. Interesting. What a name. I've got to believe that that was a retronym. Okay. I think we are good here. So there we go. We're now in the OS2. We have command prompts, DOS Windows, OS2. So we don't have a DOS disk in drive A. But if I double click DOS Windows, I suspect, since this is running in 386 protected mode, that we just opened an instance of DOS in a separate process space. Yep. Yep, looks like fairly standard DOS. It would be interesting to put some DOS software on it and see what happens, see how compatible it is. If I remember correctly, it was fairly compatible. OS2 prompt. And again, I don't really know off the top of my head any OS2 commands. But it is neat that it has built-in help. Okay. WinOS2 we can launch as well. We have to do that in full screen. Oh, interesting. It looks like what it does, it launches a DOS instance and then runs Windows in it. Probably not the most efficient, and interesting, they provided Adobe Type Manager with it. But yeah, it looks very much like Windows 3.1. So I think that's exactly what it is. And again, not thrillingly fast on this hard drive. Yeah, Windows 3.1, just as I thought. Our standard accessories. Okay, range our icons. Microsoft Paint. Just what you'd expect. It looks like it works just as Paint always does. So I haven't run Windows recently on a 38620, so I don't know comparatively what the speed is like. That would be my big question. Interesting. So we do have preemptive multitasking. So this is one of the things that OS2 is known for. And again, you can see it's not real fast, but because you have preemptive multitasking rather than the cooperative multitasking that Windows had in Windows 3.1, you can indeed run all these things at the same time and switch back and forth. Probably would work a lot better if I had more RAM in the system, more than the 6 megs that we have in here. But on this particular PS2 Model 70, that is the maximum RAM you can install on the system board. I could install a RAM expansion board as well, but I have 3 2 megabyte parity 72-pin SIMs installed on the system board. Okay, system setup, I'm guessing that's the same as the control panel. Yep, looks like it. It's interesting. It looks like it arranges a little bit different than Windows does. Windows at the time, if you'd had an application with large text underneath of it, it would have aligned it by the icon and the text would have overlapped, as a lot of windowing environments would have. So it's better for readability, but probably doesn't look quite as good. Oh, this is interesting. Presents the settings as a notebook. It's like our font manager. We're loading some fonts from disk. Edit a font? I wonder what we do with that. Huh. So it's just editing styles. It's not actually a font editor. That would have been interesting. Selective install, I'm sure, is to add more functionality to OS2, device driver install, etc. I don't have a sound card in here, so it's not really capable of any sound. Looks like we don't have a lot installed. If I go to Windows Programs rather than running Windows OS 2 full screen, I wonder if it'll run in its own window rather than full screen, or what it will do. What it will do is run slowly. Quite slowly, in fact. There's a lot of grinding of hard drive here. So this would certainly benefit from a lot faster hard drive than this DVA SD drive. So rather than running it full screen, it just runs the program manager on its own. But again, you can still see it's a separate process because it starts up a whole Windows instance. Okay, well, that's a basic overview of OS2. So you can see it looks very much like a lot of windowing systems of the time. The main difference being that they've chosen to put all of the icons on the desktop and not to put them in a window like Microsoft Windows did. If you compare this to the Macintosh of 1988, it's not too different, although in the Mac for the most part you would have had drive icons, you would have looked in those drives. I'll just quickly put a disk in and see what the Drive A device does, because it's currently grayed out. No obvious change. This, by the way, is the disk that caused the install to fail last time. Or the new copy there, that is. So, being the display drivers. Okay. Well, as I said, we are all done. I don't want to drag out this video any longer, because this is going to end up being quite a long video. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I have certainly enjoyed taking the time to install OS2 on this system. I will certainly install some other software on it as well, and maybe post some follow-up videos if there's interest. So again, thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel. And I would love it if you would post something in the comments to let me know what you liked and what you didn't. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you again soon.